Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Figure out your best game. Figure out your best game, because see, one thing, man, it ain't like one way to get a woman. Different women require different approaches. Yeah, I talk about body game, but you know, body game is the foundation, because even then women don't like the same bodies. So you know, you can't look at some guy and say, well, you know, I gotta get my body fat down to that percentage. And some women might like that, but some women might want to be like, baby, let's go get a cheeseburger. And I said that several times. I famously talk about when this one woman said I needed to put on 40 pounds. She could cook too. If something else didn't come between us, shit, I'd have been like wilding, but she'd have been happy. But that's just one thing. Even the looks part, women like different looks. They like different body types. And that's just the bait. Women might like different conversations. You can't go up and be like, oh, I'm going to joke around and stuff with this one. One woman might be like, whatever. The other woman, you might have to talk serious with. She might be looking for that more intellectual type. And then, you know, you got to say, okay, what religion do I practice? Women, hey, I've known plenty of women. They wouldn't mess with a guy who wasn't the same religion. Shoot, one of the finest women ever met, she was a Middle Eastern. I ain't going to say which country, but if you weren't praying 5 times a day to Allah, she wasn't messing with you. Look, that's the thing, though. You got to figure out what works best for you, though. What works best for you. Like, I can give some general stuff. I can talk about body game and all of that. But you got to say to yourself what works best for you. Let me use the example of basketball. Everybody can't shoot 3-pointers. That's not everybody's game. If you watch a basketball game at any level, you'll get one cat who he can hit 3-pointers all day. Other cat can't shoot a jumper like that. But he can go to the hoop better than anybody. Yet another one, his game is just getting offensive rebounds and playing defense. Yet another guy can't shoot for anything, but then he can pass the ball real well. But it all works for them. You got to find what works for you. You know, so, hey, depending on your environment, hey, it might work that, you know, you dress to the nines all the time. You dress preppy. In fact, let me get into that class level. There's not enough talk about class level. You know, being preppy, dressing preppy might work in one environment, but in the other environment, you need to wear streetwear. You got to figure out what works for you. You got to figure out what environment you're in. What attracts the women most in that particular environment, what type of bait. You know, what type of conversation? Because even class-wise, because I told you, just from life, I've been through different classes, been around different groups. Now, some women, when I'm dealing with like a working class woman or something, I can be straight up with them. And I've been straight up with them. But then you deal with a more professional type of woman, you pretty much got to reel off your resume, like where you went to school and everything and who you know before you can get the time of day from them. It is different. Every woman is different. And not only every woman is different, but you're different. You can only be, at the end of the day, you can only be yourself. You know, if you short statured, wearing tall shoes or something corny like that, still not gonna work for you. Because at some point, you try and get with that woman, you gotta take those shoes off. You don't want to use anything artificial. But you short stature, so you might have to be bolder. And somebody else might be like classically tall, handsome, all of that stuff. Even they need some game because they gotta be cool and calm. They show any nervousness or anything, or they can't talk to the woman. The woman be like, well, he was all right till he opened his mouth. You gotta figure out, okay, what works for you, where you at. You gotta look at all this stuff. Because ultimately, someone like myself I can give you a general philosophy, but you got to see it. That's why I say you got to go out and see what works for you. You can't be one of those people stuck in one thing saying, well, I'm going to do just like Rom. You're not Rom. I've had some people say that. say, well, yeah, they were trying to talk like me and all that. It's like, you're not me, though. You're not me. And ultimately, you want to be authentic. You got to be authentic with it. Shoot, some people got to be more, some people are more, extroverted in how they speak and everything. They're more extroverted. They can go out and talk to people. Some people more introverted. You can still get some play that way because that's what works for you. You can draw women to you. You might be more magnetic, whereas somebody else they got to talk to whoever. You got to see, okay, this works for me. This works for me. Some guys, they can just go some place and post up. The women gonna come to them. They might have the looks, the attitude, body language, and all of that. Okay. But then somebody else, they like, well, I can't do that. Okay, well, you're going to have to approach more. You're going to have to talk more. See, that's the thing. And the only way you're going to figure that out, you got to get out there. Ain't no fantasy. You can't be looking at some videos or something. Like even with my videos, like I said, I'm going to say it for the second time in this video. You got to go out there. You got to figure out what works for you, where you can go, what you can do, okay? Yeah, let me see something. I gotta get my shirt down and everything. I can't stand when it's hunching up. Hey, part of the thing that worked for me is when I'm dressing a certain way. You gotta figure out, all right, what's your style? Your style. You gotta develop your style. You can't, just because somebody else might wear like this polo shirt or something, they all right, but it might not work for you. You got to figure out what's going to work for you and everything. So, you got to do that. See, that's the thing. That's the thing, and I'm serious, even jewelry. I'm going to tell y'all something now. I purposely didn't put on jewelry for this. That'll work for somebody. Somebody else, that ain't going to work. They need to have on a nice watch, everything, right? Some people, they can just do without. Some people, they can be bummy as shit. What other people consider bummy looking rough. There might be some women who like that, right? So you got to think about what you're doing, and you got to pay attention. Like, here's the thing. Every single time you deal with a woman, you have to think about your look. You have to think about what women are responding to you. You got to think about it. Okay, what is it that you do? Like some guys, they got to be jokey. Some guys, they got to be real serious. You have to figure out, okay, every time you get with a woman, she shows some interest. What was it about you? Think about what you were wearing that day. What were the circumstances? What environment you were in? You got to think about it. That's very important, all right? You got to figure out your game, not my game. I can give you some general stuff, but then like even with body game, like I said, you notice with body game, most I say is muscles, right? But then you got slim muscular and then you got big brolic muscular, right? And that's still general. It depends on the woman. It depends on what you can do, all right? So anyway, that's all I have. Y'all have a great day today. And I'll talk to y'all later, all right? But really think about it. What is your best game, all right? Peace and blessings, everyone.